So I'm going to talk you through the absolute basics of logging into One Vision Hive, creating a patient, and a little tour around the patient file. You need to head to onevisionlab.co.uk or One Vision Hive, and you've got a login button, 3 login buttons, see if you can find them all. But I'm going to use this one down here. Log in now. Email address, password. There's another tutorial on resetting your password or finding a forgotten password in the forum. So if you struggle to log in, head for that tutorial, and if you click sign in, it will log you in. It's going to pull you into the last store that you were logged into, or if you're only registered to one store, it's going to give you the one you're registered to. But potentially, if you're a group with multiple companies and multiple stores, you can actually flick between them. We'll leave this as generic for now, and we've got a today button right at the top. And that will show you potentially your clinics. Again, there's another tutorial on creating clinics, adding appointments, all that sort of thing. So I won't do that right now. We maybe just put one appointment in this morning, just so that we can book the patient in once we've created them. So creating a new patient, you've got a plus button at the top. So if you click that, we're going to make up one. Bear with me while I pop it all in. You can search for the postcode. Let's go with that one there. And you can, at this point, if you're registering a patient, pop in with your own benefits, glaucoma, diabetes, that sort of thing. So let's go universal credit and diabetes. Register. As you click register, it'll actually load that patient up as well. So what you're now looking at is the patient file. And I'll walk you through some of these boxes here. The first one, you've got contact, and you've got the name, the date of birth, etc. A couple of things that are useful. I've noticed obviously we've not used capital letters. Just click it and edit it and click the tick box, and it will be as you need. As you scroll down here, again, any of these are clickable. Where you see this little, it's a copy symbol basically next to date of birth there, mobile, email. There are times obviously when you want to transfer data into a different form. It could be a portal for the NHS, something like that. So where you see this double document symbol, it means copy. So if you click that, it'll copy that information to your clipboard, and then you can paste it somewhere else, which is kind of useful realistically. GP. You can search for GPs as the database of all the GPs in the UK. So if you just start typing a postcode, a town, or a rough name, it'll give you a list. You then click it, and it will populate that data underneath. Let's move across. You've then got marketing information. So these are basically whether the patient consents to you contacting them by SMS, email, or post, and other features of the system will refer back to this data. So if you've got an SMS module that's sending them adverts or reminders, you literally can untick these if they've requested they don't want those things. Underneath we've got tags. Now you can tag your patients with various things. There's another tutorial on tags, and you can set those up in your control panel. But in a nutshell, you maybe would set up tags for things like lens plans, myopia plans, practice plans, if the patient's on an OHTMS scheme or some sort of thing where you call them back in. And literally to add that tag to them, once you've set them up, you just click the tag. And on a refresh, this green button at the top refreshes your patient. It'll then stamp it pink at the top with that plan. There's also a section in analytics where you can list all of the patients on a certain plan. Underneath, GDPR statement. A lot of practices want to either get a patient signature or a verbal consent. So you've got a section here where you can literally click to sign, and they can sign within the box, and you can save that, and it will date stamp it with today's, saying that that's what they agreed to. Or some people are happy with just a verbal one. Click verbal, it will stamp today's date, and away you go. And I'll ignore online access at the moment, because that effectively is if you're using our e-commerce website to interact with your patients. So we don't need to go through that right now. On the far right, you've got your NHS services. Good to keep track of all your bits and bobs, but also this, if you're using our EGOS module, this is where it will pull the data from on what benefits they're on, diabetic, etc. If they've got an HC certificate and that sort of thing. You've also got options here for your national insurance number, which again, EGOS like to have. NHS number, it's just a useful place to keep it. So if you're going to end up referring the patient into the NHS, you can keep a record of that. The stuff underneath, again, parent care or establishment, again, all to do with EGOS and filling out your NHS forms. We've got a feature called NHS Portal Injection, which is the baby brother of our EGOS system. And effectively that's free to use on all of our systems. And what will happen there, assuming you've already got a PCSE login yourself, if you click this button, it will effectively inject this information of this patient into that system. So you've got GOS1, GOS3, GOS4. So if you're doing a GOS1, it will send the prescription from today, the patient name, address, etc. into the portal, so you haven't got to double key it. GOS3, again, a little bit more information on prescription and glasses, that sort of thing. But nice and easy, nice and useful to send stuff across. Right at the bottom, you've got your status. You can basically click that if the patient isn't coming back to you. That'll effectively deactivate all the marketing stuff and everything. One thing I didn't mention is you've got a linked account section here. For patients that share a mobile phone number or an email address, they'll show within this column here. So, for example, it's quite a good way of keeping track of family groups and that sort of thing. So, effectively, give the patient the same mobile or the same email, and they'll all show up under linked accounts under each other's file. So let's pop across communications. If you've got your SMS module activated, you can use this section here to effectively type and send messages to the patient. And you've got a few shortcuts here. So here, if I click these, it'll pre-populate this, say with the patient name and the opticians. These pre-populated buttons you can also set up yourself in the control panel. With all sorts of things. We use them for trabecamide warning messages, for dry eye information links, for asking them where their NHS number is, for saying the glasses are in store, all those sort of things. And then this recall comes right at the end. That's the messages that are going in and out from the recall system. So if the recall system sends them a letter or a text or an email, they'll all be listed in here on the dates that they've happened. Notes is a really useful page, and effectively you can click that and you can add a patient note, coming in with daughter, something like that. It will stamp it with your name and the time and date you created it. At the end, you can just leave it as a note, or you can pin the note, which will make it more prominent at the top, or you can set it as a pop-up. If you do it as a pop-up, every time you load this patient file, it will flash up. For example, the patient is hard of hearing. It's probably useful that flashes up every time, just so that you know as you engage with the patient, basically. And on the right hand side there, you've got your activity. Now, lots of things that happen as you move around the site. So maybe you create a dispense, you create a record, you look at a record, you email a patient. These are all events, and they'll all be listed under here. So the next one, prescriptions tab, and you've got two sections to this. You've got your spectacle prescriptions and contact lens prescriptions. You can manually add them, but most of these are going to come from the prescription the e-records module. So optometrist does a record, they then save it, hand over, create a prescription, and then it'll appear here. Same with the contact lens one, but if it's say an RX and it's not part of an eye exam, you can literally click add and you can put it in here. I will just show you one other thing. If the patient if the patient's under 16 and has a myopic prescription, so we'll put this into a bit more recent. Let's go 2018. Again, the green button at the top will refresh the whole patient record. If, by the way, you just want to refresh the tab that you're in, click on it and then right click on it and it will just refresh that tab. So it's a bit quicker than loading the whole patient record. So prescription here, we've now got a prescription. The patient's 6 now because I've changed the date of birth, and -1, -1. If you click myopia management here, it will give you an estimate of how it thinks the patient's going to progress. That gets more accurate with more data points. So say a patient comes in every 6 months for 18 months, it will then kind of predict what they might be with and without myopia management lenses. So it's kind of useful to show patients. Click back to prescriptions and you'll see the normal prescriptions. E-records, I won't go into loads of detail there because we've got a separate module for the optoms on creating records, but in a nutshell, you can add patient records here. You can even set up templates. Again, there's another tutorial on that. And using this, you effectively can test your patients. There's also things to the side here. I've got generic hints here, but you can set up your own ones of these as well. So if we pay wears glasses for distance, but glasses damaged, and save that. Does that make sense? Again, though, there is a separate one on e-records for optoms, so view that tutorial if you want to know about the e-records. Dispensing tab, as you can imagine, there's definitely another tutorial on that because it's a big area, but same as the e-records really. Click new, choose what you want to do, and then you can start putting dispensers and that sort of thing in there. I think probably I've got we've got one frame in there. There we go. Select frame there. So again, different tutorial for that, but that's where your dispensers will live. And if you've got more dispensers, they'll all line up across the top in date order, and you can flick through them. Till, you've got a couple of options there. If you bind something that's a dispense from the dispense module, that can get sent into the till module. You can then pay for it, or you can obviously create transactions yourself. If you're creating transactions yourself, use the new button on the right hand side there, and you can, for example, add an eye exam there. Comes up in the till list here, and then you can pay for that. You potentially pay for it by voucher, or you can pay for it by card, or there's even other things. I don't know if there's any set up here, but you can set up other payments. So say you're a practice that takes Klarna or PayPal or something like that, you can set that up in the settings in payment options, and then you can use them in the till. So I'll pay for this one by card. There you go. Then we've got transaction that balances. You've got options here to send the patient a receipt. This one by email. So if they've got an email address set up, click that. It'll send it to them by email. Or you can generate a receipt by clicking this button. Or you can create a lab order from here as well. So say if it's a spectacle job and you want to produce an order, you can click that button there. Next, clinical data. This is used for putting data in from external sources, really. So think of it as images you want to upload, or autorefractor OCT results you want to put in, or IOP measurements. A lot of these will show up in the clinical record on the day, but they're kind of housed in their own area to keep them together. And you've really got a couple of options here. The easiest is to click this Upload Now button, and then if you've got a JPEG or a PNG or a PDF stored on your computer, it'll allow you to upload it. And once you've got some data in, you'll see more stuff. The shared inbox actually is visible across all computers within and patient files within that particular store that you're in today. So if you want to move documents between one patient to another, you pop it in the shared inbox, and then you can assign it to another patient. Clinical capture is kind of specialist. It's something we can set up, but say you want your fundus picture camera to automatically upload your notes every time you take a picture, we can set it up with special hardware. So as the staff press the button on the fundus camera, it pops in here, and then you can assign it to the patient. Refraction, prescription data here, click refraction panel, and you can then put the prescription in. And you can obviously select what it is, and then when you save it, so we'll imagine we're doing for symmetry here on a distance pair of glasses, save input and for symmetry, nice and easy, and say pressures, click the box, and it will automatically move and take 3 readings, and you can keep it as NCT, or you can say that's your Goldman reading, add that, and it will save them down here in chronological order, so you've got your dates and your times. That will, because we've done a pressure today, it will show up on that record that we did before. Again, click that tab, click the date, it will refresh, and we've now got the pressures from today, and we've got that for symmetry reading as well from today. So we'll move on to EGOS now, and this is an extra module, so there is an extra cost to this, but effectively what this does is it kind of hardwires your practice into the PCSE system. It's really good. It means you can process most of the stuff on your own system. You can leave vouchers in draft form while you're waiting for them to collect or waiting for signatures. You capture the signatures on your system, and you only, once you're absolutely happy and the patient's collected, you press one button and it transmits it to PCSE, and you get an accepted code, or potentially a rejected code, but hopefully an accepted code. So you don't have to log into PCSE online, you don't have to type in any more data, it's all done in your system. EGOS definitely has another tutorial, so watch that separately if you're interested, but that is a really good, time-saving, useful feature. Appointments, obviously pretty important. We created a slot at 8 o'clock in the clinic, so we'll now just quickly book this patient in. You've got to add appointments to your now, I don't know why, but it's not letting me book that 8:15. But what we can do, if you set your clinics up properly, it should show you all of your appointments that are available here. But you can also add an extra one. So if you've got a walk-in or just something quickly popping in, you can always add it as an extra appointment by clicking this Add Extra button there. Select what your appointment is. Let's go private eye test, and then you can confirm it with an SMS. If you've got SMS set up, it will send SMS and email to the patient to confirm, or you can confirm that without an SMS. So it won't send the patient data, but it will book the appointment. Any booked appointments, future, past and present, will show up in this list. Nice and easy, realistically. So a couple of things to just let you know about. You've got a search button at the top. So let's go back to the diary page, and you'll see my 10:13 extra patient is now booked in here. I do know why it wouldn't let me book the 8-1, and it's because we haven't set up the slot types. Again, if you look at the appointments and diary tutorial, it'll explain all about slot types, so we don't need to worry about that now. We've got John Smith there. If I click on his name, it will take me back to the patient file. Click back to today and it goes there. Click on the number, the time, the 10:13, and we can do other things. We can effectively set the progress. So say the patient arrives in the practice, you can say they are checked in. And it will show one colour. You've done the pre-screen, he's ready for the exam, you can click another one. When he's ready for a dispense, you can click another one, it will select another colour. Keeps track of your patients, basically. So say we can't see John Smith in the list and we need to search for him. Click the patient box at the top. We're searching here by surname first and then first name. So he's not John Smith, he's Smith John. So we can press SM. We don't even have to type the whole of Smith. We can just type SM and press enter, and it will show us all the patients that have got some sort of Smith in them. It looks like we've got 2. You could write Smith space JO, and it will give us all the John Smiths. If you literally press enter with nothing in there, or press space and then enter, it will show you all of your patients. I can't remember his date of birth, but we could search by date of birth. We can search by his mobile phone number, his email, and his postcodes. So lots of ways to look at that patient. The other thing I was going to show you was SMITH. Let's get him up again. Now we've lost him. SMI. There we go. Where you've got this blue button here, you can click it with the left button and it will load the patient. If though for some reason you want to keep the page you're on but also load an external window, just right click it. Okay, and wherever you see those buttons, you can right click them. A couple of times kind of saving things now. On the right hand side of your screen, you've got this little people symbol here. So if you click that, it will show you all of your recent activity. So John Smith is in there. We looked at him twice. We created a dispense. We created a record, and then there was another patient called Liam Spenlove we looked at. So effectively, if you've been doing something with a patient and then you kind of lose them, they'll be in your sidebar of your activity. So you can just click that patient there, and it will load it up into your window there. Like that, just effectively to speed you up. You can also set other little reminders, whether you've not quite finished a handover, whether you're referring. Again, look at the records module for that one. So I think that sums up most things. Maybe just a note on this bit at the top actually. You can create a quick note for your patient. So if you click quick note here, patient wants distance glasses. And click the save button there. What that'll do is that'll create a note in the diary for the staff, so they can see. You can effectively pass little notes between. Actually, I've just done the wrong thing there. You need to click private eye exam first. Right, hang on, I'm losing my mind. Right, quick note. makes you a little note in here in your notes section. Okay, whereas you can click this private eye exam button here, you can change the status of the exam. So say you're going to go dispense ready, and if we put here wants varifocals, there you go, and we'll dispense ready. That's a great way of an opt-on passing information to the shop floor, and it can work in reverse as well. So if I click today now, we'll have a note there saying it's dispense ready and he wants varifocals. So hopefully that gives you a nice overview of the basics of the system. You can log in, you can create a prescription, you know your way around the record, and you can do most things. Each module then has its own tutorial giving you more information. As ever, if you've got any questions, pop them in the forum and we can help you out. But thanks for listening, guys.